For more on the situation in Gaza, let's bring in Louise Wateridge, a senior emergency officer for the UN Relief and Works Agency, or UNRWA. She's joining me now from Gaza City. You can see just some of the damage behind her. You made a powerful video post on X this month. It was a few weeks ago, but it still applies. And I wanted to quote quickly from it. You said, across northern Gaza, there is no way of telling where the destruction starts or ends, no matter what direction you enter Gaza City. Homes, hospitals, schools, health clinics, mosques, apartments, restaurants, all completely flattened. An entire society now a graveyard. You're there right now. You've been experiencing it. How would you describe Gaza right now?
I mean, referencing that video, social media allows you to upload just a few minutes of clip, but the videos are 10, 15, 20 minutes long, and it's destruction everywhere you look. Each day that we're working in Gaza City, each direction you're looking, as far as you can see, there's damage and destruction. One of the biggest risks right now is the weather, another component to kill people here. The wind and the rain is picking up, and people are living in these very, very dangerous structures. A lot of the ceilings are collapsing, a lot of the walls don't exist, and because people have nowhere else to shelter, they are in these structures trying to find some kind of relief from the cold and the rain. But of course, this bad weather could bring these buildings down on top of people. So the misery certainly continues across the Gaza Strip, and that's all we keep seeing here.
Yeah, horrendous pictures earlier, a day or two ago, of the rains washing away tents and people's belongings, and winter's only just beginning. There are so many reports of aid not just not being able to get in logistically, but access, distribution being actively denied by Israel. Is that your experience?
This week alone, I've been in Gaza City. We've been trying to access the besieged north area. Every request has been denied. In fact, every request in the month of November has been denied or impeded. What can we say? We're doing our best. We're here. We're on the ground. We have few supplies. We're trying to get them to the people in need. But we're hearing absolute horror reports from this besieged area, which we don't have access to. We're hearing from the hospitals. They're asking for aid. They're having tanks arrive instead. When we are able to get supplies to people in Gaza City, it's not enough. I'm speaking to people around me here. They fled the besieged areas. They're asking for very, very basic things. They want food. They want water. They want to be warm. A woman was crying to me a few days ago. She just wants her baby and her children to have some warm clothing because it's raining and it's freezing. It's not a lot. When you ask what people need, that's what they tell you. When you ask what people want, immediately everybody says they want to go home, they want the war to end. Everyone I've spoken to in the entire Gaza Strip, when you ask what they want, it's for the war to end.
Yeah, we've seen Israel ordering people from the north. We've seen Israel create the so-called Netzarim corridor that basically splits the north from the rest of the Strip. Do you fear, as many do, and do those you speak to fear, that Israel is going to stop Gazans from going back to the north, either permanently or long-term at the very best?
The people I've spoken to fled for their lives. They really fled with just the clothes on their back. There wasn't time to organize anything. There wasn't time to think about any kind of long-term prospect. They know they can't get back there. They're sitting in Gaza City now. They're telling me they left relatives under the rubble. They left children under the rubble dying. They had to run for their lives. Really, the clothes on their back was all that they had. And now they're in Gaza City. They don't know what to think. They really don't know what to think. People are exhausted. It's very hard to kind of have any response from people after 14 months. They're physically and mentally exhausted. You can see the pain in their eyes and their face. I was with a 12-year-old boy yesterday. His parents were killed in a strike as they were walking back to the shelter. What can you say to a 12-year-old? He's now living in a shelter, a school with his grandfather. The school has been bombed and hit in a strike. What can you say to these people? There is no hope.
Yeah. And a lot of people feel that Israel is not going to let them go back to the north even when this was over. You know, I was listening to an Instagram post by Jonathan Whittle from the UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. You probably know him. He said, basically, he was saying he was there in the Gaza Strip, and he was saying there was nowhere to go if you're in the south. And then the north, he said people were literally starving. He said, quote, "There is no limit to the cruelty being inflicted on civilians in Gaza." It was a very powerful, emotional account. Does that resonate with your own observations?
Absolutely. There's not a humanitarian here that doesn't see the cruelty day in and day out. As you reference, in the South, we've had people who are forced to live on the beach, nowhere else to go, and there's nowhere else to have a shelter. And the sea has now come in and washed their shelters away and washed their belongings away. People are starving. People are fighting over flour, bags of flour. That's the desperation. I'm seeing children going through rubbish, huge piles of trash, trying to pick out any kind of tin can that might have some scraps in the bottom of it. They're going through the trash with the dogs. Children. It's just cruel. It's just suffering. Yesterday, I had 10, 15 people come up to me and ask me if I could help find their children. Some of them hadn't seen their children for a year. They wanted to know if there's anything we can do to try and find their children.
Yeah.
It's the desperation is everywhere you look, and everybody has a horrific story. You can't speak to one person without the room, it goes silent. Everybody listens, everybody cries, everybody weeps, and then the next person tells their story, which is just as horrific, just as awful. Everybody's lost something. Everybody has lost everything. They really want the war to end, They need food, they need water, but they want the war to end.
Just horrendous levels of suffering and endless. Louise Wateridge there in Gaza City. Stay safe. Thanks for the work that you're doing there.
Thank you.